Hi, good morning. So, as per your syllabus in carbohydrate metabolism, today I am going to explain about another one important pathway. So, that is none other than glycogenesis. What is glycogenesis? What is glycogen? So, the glycogen is nothing but it is just a storage form of glucose in animals. So, in how the plants, the carbohydrate materials is stored and condensed into starch, the same manner in humans or animals, the glucose material it's converted into the condensed form. That form is called as glycogen. Okay, so mostly it's stored in the liver. I can go for yeah. Mostly it's stored in liver. Around 6 to 8% of glycogen it is available in liver. Around 1 to 2% of glycogen is only available in muscles. But due to the more muscle mass, the quantity of the glycogen in muscle is around 250 grams. That means it's a 3 times higher than the liver, because the liver is one of the major organ, but volume wise, size wise, it's very less. But our skeletal muscles is having one of the major place for the storage of glycogen. So the glycogen level is more, but the percentage wise, the liver is having 6 to 8% of glycogen, but the quantity wise, the more amount of glycogen is stored only in muscles, around 250 grams. So particularly it's stored in granules of cytosol. In cell, muscle cell, it's going to store inside the cytosol. So what is the function of glycogen? What is the function? Because the glycogen it is act as a maintain the major role to maintain the blood glucose level, particularly in between the meals. So whenever we had the meal, whenever we had the food, that time that energy has been generated, otherwise that energy nutrient is gained from our food source. So when we don't had the food, otherwise during the meal, during fasting condition, otherwise during intermediate fasting stage, our body, we are not taking about sufficient amount of food material. That time our body it must be met the sufficient glucose level, because even we don't take the food, our body needs a glucose material for basal metabolic process. Because example, our brain is, even we are not doing any work, our brain is doing continuously working, otherwise heart also is continuously working. So these are the things that comes under the basal metabolism. So for the basal metabolic process, it's need the energy. That energy has been must be supplied by the glucose. So for fasting condition, that has been met with glycogen. When we doesn't had the food carbohydrate, that time the stored glycogen has been break down, it's going to produce more amount of glucose. That's a concept. So it's going to produce the blood glucose level, it's going to maintain the blood glucose level. That's a first point. The second one is the liver glycogen is stored is going to increase when the well fed stage. That means when we had the sufficient amount of food, more than sufficient amount of food, that time what's happened, that glucose material, when we had the carbohydrate, either polysaccharide, starch, it has been break down into these small molecules glucose. Then this excess amount of glucose, when we have the more amount of food, the glucose molecules has been condensed into glycogen. Okay, so the liver glycogen is stored, it's increased the well fed stage. When we had the more amount of food, it's going to store synthesis, the glucose is going to synthesis into glycogen. So it must be depleted during fasting condition. When we are fasting, when we doesn't have the food, that time that reserved source is going to utilize. So the muscle glycogen is serve as a fuel reserve for ATP supply. I already say that for glucose utilization, it's mostly happen on the skeletal muscles. When we are doing any work, physical work, our muscles need some energy. That energy has been utilized for the exercise purpose. So that energy supply is done by glucose metabolism process. When we are fasting condition, the muscle glycogen is undergone the glycogenolysis, is converted into the glucose. That is undergone the supply of glucose supply to the muscle. It's utilized for energy supply. So that's a chain reaction. So what is glycogenesis? This is a simple picture to represent the glycogenesis process. So I say the glucose is a raw material. So when we had sufficient amount of food, otherwise more than sufficient of food, the glucose material is going to condense into glycogen. That means it's going to arrange together. The glucose molecule is going to arrange together one by one. It's going to form a condensed form that is called as glycogen. So it's having so many intermediate steps. So what's happened exactly? It's converted into the 6-phosphate, glucose 1-phosphate. Then it's going to form a glycogen primer. Then it's going to attach towards the primer. So it's going to form a glycogens. So entire detailed reaction I can explain in coming slides. So but overall you can understand this. The glucose is a raw material. The glucose is converted into glycogen. It's a condensed form. That's all. Which one is instant fuel? Normally we have studied the fat is a fuel reservoir. But in last slide we have discussed glycogen is a basic fuel for the muscle and the energy utilization purpose. So we have a question, which one is act as a instant fuel? Because the myth is the fat is act as a fuel reservoir of body. Normally we know that, otherwise we have studied in the APH itself. So the fat is going to store it's a energy reservoir. So when we are undergoing the fasting condition, the fat is going to lipolysis is get the energy. That's a myth. That's right. But the fat is not preferred for instead of glycogen chosen for routine and day by day use of energy resource. The glycogen has been utilized for when you are having fasting, particularly in between the meal, intermediate between the meal. So when you have fasting for a long time, that time your cholesterol has been is going undergone the lipolysis process. That lipids has been utilized for your energy resource. But the instant energy is glycogen, because the glycogens are rapidly metabolized. It's going to metabolize fast, then it's going to produce sufficient amount of glucose as soon as earlier. And apart from that, the glycogen can be generate energy even in absence of oxygen. But in lipid mediated productions, it's depend upon the oxygen. So the glycogen is no need for, glycogen is converted into the glucose process. For that process, oxygen is not mandatory. So apart from that, the brain depend upon the continuous glucose supply. So it's mostly supply from glycogen. Our brain is continuously working, even you are taking rest. So that time the brain needs more amount of energy that has been supplied by glucose only. So during fasting conditions, what's happened? The glycogen acts as a instant energy supplier. So it's going to break down into glucose molecule. It's going to supply the utilization of brain function. But in other hand, what the problem in fat? So the fat mobilization is slow. That's a major first problem. So that the myth is correct. The fat is it's act as a energy reservoir, but the mobilization of fat from the fatty tissues, adipose tissue to utilization, it's very slow process. Apart from that, it's need oxygen for the metabolic process. The energy production can't produce the glucose. That is another one problem, because it's the once the lipids is going to undergo the metabolism, means it's produced acetyl CoA. Maybe that acetyl CoA is enter into the TCA cycle. It's because it's an intermediate cycle. It's going to the TCA cycle, then it's produced oxaloacetate. That oxaloacetate it's converted into the pyruvate. That pyruvate it's once again it comes to the gluconeogenesis process. So it's a TDS cycle. So the fat is considered as a fixed deposit. So the fat is right. The fat is an energy reservoir, but it's like a fixed deposit. So once it's stored, for breaking the fixed deposit is very tough. But the glycogen is act as a current account or saving account. Whenever you need, you can utilize. Otherwise, whenever you have, you can deposit in the bank. The same manner, when your body needs glucose, that time the glycogen is going to break down, it's converted into the glucose, you can utilize. When it is excess, the glucose is converted into the glycogen, then it's stored in either in liver or muscle. So it's act as a current or saving account. That is the thing. So because of that, our glycogen, it is act as a instant fuel. Okay. So the next question is there. Sir, you said the glycogen, it is a condensed form of glucose. So whether it is a chain or not. For those questions, you get the answer here. Yes, the glycogen, it's like a chain format. You can see this picture. So the glucose is raw material, we know that. The glucose is going to, the glucose is going to attach with the glycogen primer. So the primer is nothing but glycogenin. It is act as a primer. So the glucose is converted into the UDP glucose, uridine diphosphate glucose. So that glucose unit is going to attach with the primer. You can see here, this is glycosyl unit, it's going to attach with the glucose. So you can see here, this is a sequence of glucose moiety, it's going to attach with primer. So it's like a chain. Then after that, it's going to make a branching also. From the straight chain, it's going to make a branching of glucosyl unit. So it's having a various sub-branched molecule also. So the glycogen is, it's a chain, it's a condensed form of glucose. So it's having a various branches of glucose molecules. So mostly the mature glycogen, you can see there, the final glycogen, mature glycogen, it's having around 60,000 of glycosyl units. So you just imagine how many number of branches will be there in glycogens. Next we can go for exact pathway. So this is the pathway. The starting material is glucose. The starting material is glucose. The final material is glycogen. So the glycogenesis is nothing but it's a synthesis of glycogen from glucose. That's a step, we know that. It's a formation of glycogen from glucose molecule. The process is called as glycogenesis. So mostly it takes place on the cytosol. Inside the cell, it's cytosol is there. So that's a place the glycogen is going to happen. It requires some energy, particularly ATP, and its need is some UTP. UTP is it's helpful for the formation of chain, glycogen chain. So you can see here, the glucose is the first molecule. So it's converted into the glucose 6-phosphate, then glucose 1,6-phosphate, then it's converted into the UDP glucose. Then it's going to conjoin together with primer. Then after that, the primer is come here. So this glucose molecule is going to attach with the primer. So it's going to form a straight chain. So the chain elongation is going to happen. After that, the straight chain, from the straight chain is going to split. Then it's going to form a side chain. Branching chain is going to elongate. So it's going to like a sequence of reactions. It's going to continuously sequence. So at the end, it's going to form a glycogen. So the starting material is glucose. It's converted into the final material is glycogen. Normally, this glycogenesis process has been divided into 4 steps. The first one is synthesis of UTP glucose. The second one is primer, because the primer is initiate the glycogenesis process. The second one is exactly the glycogen synthesis happen. The last one is the branches of glycogen formations. So these are the 4 steps is there. You can see here, the first step, UDP glucose. Up to this level, this comes under the first category, synthesis of UDP glucose. The second one is primer is comes and start the function, because primer is going to initiate the glycogen synthesis. Then sequence arrangement, one by one the glucose molecule is going to attach with the primer, so it's going to a long chain. So it is called as glycogen synthesis process with the help of glycogen synthase enzyme. This one. Okay. The fourth one is branching. From the straight chain is going to make a break into 2 chain, then it's going to arrange with branches. So it's going to happen in various sequence continuously. So finally it's going to form a glycogen. So in next step we can see one by one what is happening exactly. So the first step, synthesis of UDP glucose, because in glyconeogenesis process the first process one is the glucose is converted into UDP glucose. That's our first step. We have divided the glycogenesis process into 4 steps. The first one is synthesis of UDP glucose. So in this step, it's nothing but the glucose is converted into UDP glucose. So you can see there that the enzyme, the first process, the glucose, it's converted into the glucose 6-phosphate. That reaction has been catalyzed in glucose 6-phosphate conversion has been catalyzed by glucokinase enzymes. So otherwise hexokinase enzymes. Hexokinase or glucokinase enzyme, these are the isoenzymes. Hexokinase is available in muscle. Glucokinase is present on liver. So that enzyme is responsible for the conversion of glucose into glucose 6-phosphate. For those reactions, the phosphorylation, exactly the phosphorylation happen on the glucose. So the 1-phosphate group from the ATP is going to donate into glucose. So it's converted into glucose 6-phosphate. So ADP is downregulated into ADP. After that, the glucose 6-phosphate, it's converted into the glucose 1-phosphate. For that reaction has been catalyzed by phosphoglucomutase enzymes. Okay, that reaction has been catalyzed by phosphoglucomutase enzymes. First one, glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, then glucose 6-phosphate to glucose 1-phosphate. So after that, exactly the scene is going to happen. So the glucose 1,6-phosphate, it's converted into the UDP glucose molecule. So that reaction has been catalyzed by UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase enzyme. This enzyme is very, very, very vital for this reaction. First one is glucose converted into glucose 6-phosphate. That thing is happen on glucokinase with help of glucokinase or hexokinase. Then it's converted into the glucose 1,6-phosphate. Then with help of UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase enzyme, it's converted into the UDP glucose. So the first step is over. In second step, primer. So now the UDP glucose is ready. So the next step is initiation of glycogenesis is going to happen. So for those process, it's need a primer. So the small fragment of free existing glycogen, it's act as a primer. It is a small fragment of glycogen, so it is serve as a primer, because once it's a primer is available, easily the glucose molecule is UDP glucose is going to attach with the primer, the chain elongation is going to happen. So the primer is come to the scene. So the glycogen is going to synthesize happen by donating the UDP glucose. So in recently found that the absence of glycogen primer, a specific protein, it's called as glycogenin. Yeah, this glycogenin, it's a protein. Even the lack of fragments, small amount of glycogen, the fragment is not available, means in that case the glycogenin, this protein substance, it's act as a primer. So this glycogenin is going to act as a primer. So the UDP glucose, the glucose molecule is going to attach with the glycosyl unit. So one by one, the glucose is come, UDP glucose is come, it's going to attach, the chain elongation is going to happen. So this is second step, the primer and initiation of glycogenesis process. So the enzyme, the glycogen initiator synthase enzyme, that enzyme is important role. The glycogen initiator synthase enzyme is responsible for the formation of glycogen elongation process. Because even though the first molecule, the glycogenin molecule is available, the glucose molecule is going to attach with the primer. For those reaction, it's need the enzyme. The enzyme is glycogen initiator synthase enzyme. So that step, now the primer is ready, the glucose is going to started to attach together. So the primer, the attachment is going to start. The glycogen synthase enzyme is responsible for the formation of 1,4-glycosidic linkage. That means nothing but the glucose molecule is going to link with the primer with that attachment 1 and 4 position. So the chain is going to continuously is going to elongate. The enzyme transfer the glucose from UDP glucose to the non-reducing glycogen molecule. So that's a glycogen molecule. So the UDP glucose is going to donate the glucose group in the non-reducing end. So at the attachment of 1 and 4th linkage is going to happen. So the chain is going to synthesis. This is exactly the glycogen synthesis process. That process. The fourth one is formation of branches. So in last step, what's happened? The branches, the continuous chain elongation is going to happen. Continuously, the UDP glucose is going to donate the glucosal moiety, is going to attach with the non-reducing end with the primer. So in 1/4 linkage, so the chain is going to continuously is going to elongate. The chain is going to continuously is going to elongate. So that it must be convert into the branches. Then only the glycogen is going to become a condensed form. The glucose is going to condense into glycogen. So for those case, the linear glycogen, the linear chain is not going to useful. So for that process, that enzyme, the glycosyl alpha 4,6 transferase enzyme is going to break the chain. It's going to make a sub branches. So you can see here. So this is denoted as a dotted line. So this is the place exactly the breakage of chain is going to happen. Then the broken chain is going to attach into sub branches. So then after that, once again, the elongation of glycogen synthase, with the help of the glycogen synthase enzyme, the strand will be going to straight. Once again, the transferase enzyme is going to break and is going to make a sub branches. So it's going to like a TDS reactions. So the glycogen synthase is responsible for the make a 1,4 linkage. It's going to make a linear chain. But the transferase enzyme is going to break the linear chain. It's going to attach the sub branches. So finally, it's going to make a condensed form of glycogens. So this is the fourth and last step to make a condensed form of glycogen. So the glycogenesis, the overall reaction you can see here. So the glucose molecule, it's like a primer, either glycogen or fragment of glycogen. So it's going to attach the attachment of glucose with the help of 2 molecules of ATP. So it's going to addition of glycogen molecules. So the chain is going to elongate. So this is overall reactions. So up to here, this is your first step, formation of UDP glucose. The second one is primer initiation. This is second step, primer initiation. Then third one is chain elongation. Then fourth one is branchment. Sub-branchment is going to formation. Yeah, that's all. This is overall concept about the glycogenesis process.